We're traveling to all 50 states with our kids and staying in the coolest, family-friendly short-term rentals we can find along the way. In South Dakota, we stayed in a peaceful cabin near Hill City, got up close to a herd of bison, took in the iconic views at Mount Rushmore, and even had our own national treasure moment at Sylvan Lake. Now, with South Dakota in the rear view, it's time for our next adventure.
South Dakota, South Dakota, South Dakota, South Dakota, Wyoming.
To Wyoming. This is state number 3 on our family adventure of visiting all 50 states over the next 5 months.
And this is the start of some long drives across some very wide east to west states. We're trying to cover some ground today, have a long drive, several hundred miles, but we're going to crank it out.
We have about an hour to go until we have to make a charging stop, and when we get there, we will go over today's strategy. Just left the charging stop, took a little time there to feed the kids, get a little lunch, and now we are back on the road.
So today's strategy is a little complicated. We left South Dakota with a low state of charge because in the Black Hills there really aren't any DC chargers. We had to go to Rapid City first this morning, pretty much the first stop, charged up, then moved on. Second stop Kylie mentioned, got a Tesla supercharger, got up to 90% because then the next charger that we had planned to use is a single outlet at a car dealership and it's slow, 50 kilowatts. Anyway, we were gonna try that, but now the car says we might make it all the way close to our destination in Wyoming, the next DC charger with 11%. Not sure we're gonna chance it yet. We're at a decision point in like 20 minutes.
We need to decide if we're gonna go a little bit further with a closer charging stop or shorten our overall drive distance, but chancing it on whether or not we make it.
If we take the second option, kind of go on small highway, there are no other DC chargers between where we start and get off the interstate. So I don't know yet. We'll see in 20 minutes what the range estimate looks like and we'll give you an update maybe. We aren't going to run the truck dead though, that's for sure.
But overall, we're driving around 500 miles today with 3 charging stops.
Yeah, one way or another, it's going to be 3 charging stops and we'll see how we get there. Still not fully determined yet.
Our charging stops are usually somewhere between 15 and 35 minutes, just enough time to stretch our legs and sometimes squeeze in a quick homeschool lesson. After this stop, we continued to drive west across Wyoming until the road climbed out of the valley and dropped us back down along Bighorn Scenic Byway, where we followed the river through a towering gorge. Sheer canyon walls rose up on both sides, making it one of the most dramatic stretches of road on our trip so far.
We made this booking about 6 weeks ago. It's been a while since the kids have seen the listing, and I've kind of intentionally kept it that way, so it'll be more of a surprise when we get there again. But guys, so our stay in Wyoming is just outside of Cody. So we're gonna all sleep in this covered wagon, 1 king bed, and then it has bunk beds for you guys. Outside, there's a fire pit, and they have alpacas.
Alpacas? Can we pet them?
I don't know. We'll have to ask.
I can't believe you can sleep in a covered wagon.
and Laura bought these 6 acres back in 2017 and built everything here from the ground up. Pete is a master carpenter, and his craftsmanship shows in every detail, from the lodge where they live, to the bathhouse, to each of the guest cabins. They originally added teepees for guests, but over time swapped those out for the Conestoga-covered wagons, which is what we stayed in. Our wagon had a queen bed and a set of bunks, which was the perfect setup for our family. We loved chatting with Pete and Laura, swapping stories about real estate investing, and hearing about Pete's motorcycle adventures. Their journey from finding a raw piece of land to creating a space where families can make lasting memories is nothing short of inspiring.
We had an awesome first night in this covered wagon. Today we have a full day of adventures planned.
But before we get back in the truck, here is our Wyoming bucket list. First item on the list is to stay at the coolest kids STR in Wyoming, and we've obviously found that.
It's loved. The covered wagon is a hit.
And the bunk beds.
Yeah.
Next on the list is to visit America's first national park. We also have watch a geyser erupt, see a bear, but from far away, and hike to a waterfall. So let's see what we can check off today.
You could easily spend a week in Yellowstone hiking trails and exploring geothermal sites and still only scratch the surface. At over 3,400 square miles, it's larger than the states of Rhode Island and Delaware combined. At its heart lies Yellowstone Lake, shimmering at nearly 7,800 feet above sea level, making it one of the largest high-altitude lakes in North America. After our bear sighting on the way into the park, we were all on the lookout for wildlife. But with limited time, our route was short, winding clockwise around Yellowstone's lower loop toward Old Faithful and pulling over whenever something caught our eye. All the while, our truck battery kept dropping, and as we drove deeper into the park, we began to wonder if bringing an EV into Yellowstone had been a big mistake.
We are at Old Faithful at the charging stop. There are 2 chargers here. One when we got here was occupied, and we have been here for about an hour and the guy still hasn't come back. We started looking at the second charger, which wasn't working and also has a keypad on it. So Stephen walked up to the lodge to see if maybe we could get the code, and she said, we would give it to you, but it's broken, so there's no bother to even try. Get back here feeling very defeated, thinking we're just probably going to have to turn around and go back to our STR because we don't have enough range to make it further into Yellowstone. And then MacGyver enters the scene.
Yeah, I wasn't going to take no for an answer. So first I started with the keypad, relatively easy number combinations. That took about 3 minutes and got the keypad to turn on the charger. But then the second problem is the switch on this charger cable is broken. So when you plug an EV charger in, there's a switch on the button to release the cable, and that needs to be closed in order for the cable to think it's safe and plugged in before it starts this flow of power. That little switch on the button of the connector is broken. I tried to hold the button up, then I heard the relay click inside the charger, started charging, but I can't stand here and hold that button the whole time because I want to see Old Faithful. So I got out my knife, jammed my knife down into the button to hold it upwards. That worked, and then we figured out I have spare knife blades. I jammed a spare knife blade in it. My knife belongs back here in my pocket. Now we're good. We're
now
charging.
You can go see Old Faithful. Oh,
Old Faithful's coming up.
40 minutes.
Old Faithful might be Yellowstone's most famous geyser, but what we found most interesting wasn't just the eruption, it was why it's so reliable. Unlike most geysers, it doesn't share an underground water source, which means nothing interrupts its cycle. That's the secret to living up to its name. Watching the eruption and then walking the basin gave us a perfect visual tie-in to our homeschool lesson on how Yellowstone's geysers and hot springs form when groundwater meets superheated rock deep below the surface. Since we were able to charge up the truck, we had just enough range to make it up to Grand Prismatic Spring. At over 370 feet wide, it's the largest hot spring in the United States, and its rainbow colors come from heat-loving bacteria that thrive in different temperatures around the pool. Every morning, Laura prepares a breakfast spread for their guests, which we appreciated more than ever on our busy travel days. We ate outside with coffee and hot cocoa, surrounded by mountain views and Pete and Laura's goats, alpacas, and peacocks. Truck is filthy after 9 hours in the car yesterday, so let's go clean it out and reset the snacks. Goodbye to our covered wagon in Wyoming after 2 nights with EYCAT Lodging. We think the kids made an excellent choice for our Wyoming short-term rental. It had so many amenities for the kids, games, and the animals, and just the uniqueness of the covered wagon itself. It was also very close to the east entrance of Yellowstone National Park, and we spent a day and a half enjoying everything that we could soak up in the time that we had.
So today's strategy of driving is about 500 miles. We've got a lot of ground to cover. Luckily, we were able to charge up almost to 100% overnight at the Covered Wagon Lodge. They had some RV outlets that we could connect our charger to. That helped because charging within Yellowstone National Park is very sparse. So we're driving through Yellowstone again today and have 2 more charging stops once we get out of the park to make it to our next destination.
Our family had such a nice time in Wyoming. I wish that we had 2 weeks to spend here and enjoy more of the state. You could spend 2 weeks alone just in Yellowstone. But we are glad that we picked this area as our stay because during the drive across Wyoming from South Dakota, we ended up being able to see a lot of really cool spots as well.
The vastness of Yellowstone is just can't be described. It's so huge and so unique. Wyoming is a place to definitely come back and spend some more time.
The Grand Canyon of Yellowstone is one of the park's most dramatic sights, with the river dropping more than 300 feet over the lower falls and carving its way through golden cliffs. But after yesterday's busy sightseeing day, the kids were over it, so Stephen and I took turns walking down to the top of the falls to see it up close.